I usually start my mornings with my trusty sidekick coffee and the determination to go my classes. But somehow, as I walk through those metal gates and the sight of those huge, bland concrete structures fill my view, my mood changes dramatically. What started as a day of expected fun turned into crippling depression and anxiety. So, as a budding scientist, I did my research and asked questions like, does specific building designs cause depression? Are there more lively architectural designs? What influence these designs? And most importantly, as an environmentalist, are these designs sustainable? My research led me to a very interesting term, Solarpunk.
So what is solarpunk? Well, unlike its counterparts like cyber and steampunk, which depicts a dystopian future, solarpunk is quite the opposite. It's more optimistic and gives a regenerative vision for the future. Solarpunk is not only an aesthetic, but it's also an ideology that is growing in popularity. The ideology is based on the pushback of capitalism and is based on prioritizing the planet and individuals first. But I know what you're thinking. What does solarpunk has anything to do with our sustainable developmental goal? Well, our sustainable developmental goal that we are focusing on is SDG11. Well, for starters, SDG11 aims to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. And Solarpunk incorporates green technologies and embraces nature, which is on track with SDG 11. By drawing inspiration from Solarpunk ideals, it gives us an imaginative exploration into what future cities may look like. How can we apply these Solarpunk concepts that relate to SDG 11 and implement it in our location of study, which will be Port of Spain? Well, for starters, Port of Spain is 100% powered by natural gas and there is no renewable energy sources of electricity. So, the city could implement renewable energy sources. Port of Spain can make a switch to renewable energy sources by putting wind turbines in urban areas, building community-owned energy cooperatives, and covering their rooftops with solar panels. Similarly to the country that they were named after, Spain, in Barcelona, there is a solar municipal project that installed solar panels on public buildings and provided financial aid to those who wanted to install solar panels on the top of their roofs. Another solarpunk concept is the participation of community. By involving citizens in the decision-making process, participatory urban planning methods guarantee that development projects represent the needs and the values of the local community. In Porto Alegre, Brazil, citizens are empowered to prioritize projects like public transport and green spaces by choosing how a portion of the city budget is distributed. A very popular space in Port of Spain is the Queen's Park Savannah. And just like other green spaces, the city can implement more green spaces. So ecological harmony in cities is improved by urban green spaces, green infrastructure, and biodiversity conservation initiatives. A study in Australia found that tree canopy cover and, to a lesser extent, grass cover decreases local daytime surface temperatures up to 6% during extreme summer heat conditions. And because Trinidad and Tobago has a tropical climate, and due to climate change, dry seasons are getting more extreme, this is very helpful in creating a safe and resilient city. In Port of Spain, and actually in Trinidad and Tobago, there is a lot of public transport but needs to be utilized, such as the PTSC bus service, as well as the maxi taxi system. What are the benefits of implementing these concepts into the city? Well, for starters, renewable energy sources, such as hydroelectricity, wind energy, and solar power, is emphasized in solarpunk notations. Cities may greatly lessen their reliance on fossil fuels by utilizing these resources, which will cut greenhouse gas emissions and help fight climate change. A major decrease in carbon emissions can result from switching to renewable energy sources, according to the International Renewable Energy Agency. Biodiversity preservation. Green areas, rooftop farming, and vertical gardens are common features of urban architecture influenced by solarpunk. These concepts support biodiversity in urban areas by giving different plant and animal species place to live. According to United Nations, more vegetation also contributes to better air quality, more environmental resilience, and a reduction in the urban heat island effect. Now, there are social benefits to implementing these Solarpunk concepts, such as community involvement. In Solarpunk communities, community participation is given top priority when making decisions about resource management, energy production, and urban development. Residents benefit from a greater sense of empowerment and ownership as a result, which strengthens social cohesion and teamwork. Equity and accessibility. The tenets of Solarpunk promote fair distribution of benefits among socio-economic levels by promoting equitable access to sustainable technology and resources. Community-owned renewable energy projects, for instance, can offer impoverished communities dependable and reasonably priced electricity, thereby empowering energy poverty and enhancing quality of life. There are also some economic benefits to implementing Solarpunk concepts with relation to SDG11. Employment creation. The adoption of sustainable methods influenced by Solarpunk theory opens up new employment perspectives in the field of green building, urban agriculture, renewable energy, and other related fields. The International Labour Organization asserts that energy efficiency and renewable energy investments have the potential to generate millions of jobs worldwide, spurring innovation and economic growth. Implementing renewable energy sources, taking public transport, and having green spaces which reduce the need for air conditioning can save us a lot of money. Solarpunk ideas encourage energy-saving practices like smart grid technology, energy-efficient appliances, and passive solar architecture. Cities can save long-term costs by lowering electricity bills for businesses and individuals by reducing the energy usage and the reliance on centralized energy infrastructure. Sustainable cities and communities addresses social injustices, slow down environmental deterioration, and promote resilience and economic growth by adopting Solarpunk concepts. If we want to prevent that dystopian future and instead implement an optimistic future where everything can live in harmony, there are some challenges and constraints that needs to be taken into consideration. These include socio-cultural elements, technological restraints, legislative and regulatory hurdles. Because renewable energy sources like solar power and wind power are sporadic, their output may not always match the intensity of the market. Maintaining a dependable and robust energy supply can be difficult without effective energy storage options, such as grid-scale storage devices or sophisticated batteries. And for a small country like Trinidad and Tobago, implementing this infrastructure on existing infrastructure could be very costly. So the major upfront financial outlays are necessary for the implementation of Solarpunk-inspired infrastructure, such as decentralized energy grids, eco-friendly transit systems, and sustainable structures. Scaling up such projects may be hampered by limited funding and conflicting agendas, especially in developing nations or areas with a low economic status. By implementing Solarpunk concepts on already existing plans could impede growth. Adopting supportive rules for renewable energy, green infrastructure, and sustainable urban designs can be challenging for governments because they might prioritize traditional energy sources or feel pressure from special interests to lobby on their behalf. The other challenge is the complicated procedure in implementing or passing laws to do these types of projects. It can be costly and time-consuming to get permission and approvals for creative sustainable projects. According to Sofa Cool and Dworkin, regulatory framework might not be adaptable enough to new technology or different approaches, which would cause delays and high expenses for communities and developers. We've looked at the challenges from a legislative side and an economic side, but what about the social side? Would people adapt easily to these Solarpunk concepts? Or would they prefer traditional way of life? The public's perception of Solarpunk notations can be influenced by social-cultural variables, including as views towards technology, aesthetics, and lifestyle choices. Adoption of sustainable practices and community engagement may be hampered by the resistance to change or skepticism about unusual techniques. Social justice and equality must be taken into account when implementing sustainability concepts. Access to green technologies and participations in decision-making processes may be restricted for lower-income communities or marginalized groups, which could result in an unfair distribution of benefits and exacerbate social inequality. To sum it all up, this documentary explored Trinidad and Tobago's journey in implementing Solarpunk concepts and SDG11 for a sustainable future and showed commendable progress in renewable energy and city designs. However, economic constraints and cultural shifts pose challenges in the nation's pursuit for achieving this sustainable future and requires collaborative efforts in addressing these challenges into opportunities for transformative change. The fusion of Solarpunk and SDG11 stands as a beacon of hope for Trinidad and Tobago's future.